Today, I wanted to share something that's pretty powerful. And it's this man's testimony about being in hell and what he experienced there, and why that's so important to us to not only just watch these videos and kind of take in what they experienced, but understand that there's an important message when God shows someone and lets them experience something like this. It's not just for the individual to experience. A lot of times we might think, well, that person might have been going through something, or maybe God saved them, from turning a wrong way and leading themselves away from God. But that's not the case. God doesn't only do it for those reasons. He does it for the testimony. For someone like yourself or myself that watches these videos, it plants that seed in our minds that we need to share the gospel, and we need to go out there and preach the word so people don't experience these things when their life ends. So let's just jump right into it. Let's jump into this video and watch this.
Right. Well, we went to a prayer meeting that we attended every Sunday night. Nothing unusual about the night. Came home from this prayer meeting and went to bed like any other normal night. And I got up at 3 o'clock in the morning just to get a glass of water. And suddenly I was pulled out of my body. As I was walking through the living room, something grabbed me and pulled me out of my body. I saw my body fall to the floor. And I started tumbling down this long tunnel. And it was getting hotter and hotter. And then I landed on an actual stone floor in a prison cell in hell. Rough-hewn stone walls, bars, filthy, stinking, dirty prison, but like a dungeon. But Isaiah 24:22 mentions that, Proverbs 7:27, Job 17:16, Jonah 2:6, and many other verses talk about the prison cells in hell. And that's where I first found myself. Now, Vlad, I was fully awake and cognizant. Mm-hmm. I was just like I'm here now. And I wondered, how did I get here? Why am I here? And it wasn't explained until the way back. But the first thing I noticed was the intense heat. It was like a blast furnace. And I wondered, how could I be alive in this unbearable heat? And so my reaction was I wanted to get up and run out of this prison cell that I was in. But I noticed I had no physical strength whatsoever. It took so much effort to move. And I thought, what's wrong with my body? But Isaiah 14:9-10 says, health.
The thing is, I know a lot of you guys seen this video before. This video has been out for a number of years already. And this is off of Vlad's YouTube page, which if you don't follow him already, you should definitely subscribe to him, because he's a great pastor. He's got great sermons. He's filled with the Lord, and he's very passionate with his messages, and he does a great teaching. So if you haven't subscribed to him, I definitely suggest you subscribing. I'll leave his link in the bio, in the description. And again, I'm sure many of you probably already seen this video, but I just want to go over a few key points that he shares and share that what is important about that message, and why we all really need to pay attention to people's testimonies when they share these stories like this.
From beneath is moved to meet thee at thy coming. They will say, art thou become weak as we? And Psalms 88:4 says, I am counted with them that go down into the pit. I am as a man that has no strength. Mm-hmm. So if you ever...
Now, just to relate to this real quickly, I had an experience like this as well, where in a dream, I felt the separation of the Lord, where I died in my dream and my spirit was being pulled out of my body, and I was going down towards hell and being cast away into hell. And the big thing was, it's hard to explain, because I know I'm a Christian, I know I'm saved, and I know if those thoughts would have came in when I had that dream, when I was experiencing that, I might have not experienced the things that I did, because I know I'm saved. But in my dream, I didn't even think about being saved. I didn't even think about that I've already given my life to Christ. I just felt what it would feel like for someone who does not believe when they pass, that separation, that pull from their body, but more importantly, that separation from the Lord, and knowing that you cannot call out to him, that is forever, and there's nothing you can do. It's like this tremendous amount of knowledge that just comes to you, and you just realize there's nothing you can do, and you just know there's no way out. And all these things just come to you instantly as you feel that. As I was feeling that experience of going to hell, that's what I felt instantly, was that just knowledge of where I'm going, why I'm going there, and all these things. There's a list of things that just happened in a split second.
Moving, and they were pacing in the cell like a vicious, caged animal. They had the most ferocious demeanor about them, and they were blaspheming and cursing God. We know blasphemy comes from the demonic realm. Revelation 13:6, James 2:7, and some others. But then they directed this hatred they had for God, they directed towards me. I wonder why. What have I done to them?
So he says he wonders why. What has he done to them? Why would they be so vicious and angry towards him? And I'm going to share something with you, why that is. But let's look at Genesis 1:27 real quick. Genesis 1:27 says, so God created mankind in his own image. In the image of God, he created them. Male and female, he created them. Now, why they're attacking him and just trying to tear him apart is because we're made in God's image. So when they see you, they see God. And they want to act out towards that because they can't get to God. Think about it. They have no chance of being redeemed, no chance of forgiveness. They probably even think about what their position was like in heaven before they cast down from heaven and join Satan. So all they do is when they see you, they're just tormented by you, by your existence, by you even being there. You're simply tormenting them and reminding them. So that obviously they want to go and act out any way possible towards you.
But the one demon picked me up and threw me into the wall of this prison cell. Tremendous strength demons have. You have none. I collapsed. I felt as if every bone in my body had broken. But now maybe a spirit doesn't have bones, but it sure felt that way. And I have to explain one thing, though. The Lord explained that he blocked most of the pain. He didn't allow me to feel all of it. Just a small amount so I could relate to people. It's not metaphorical. It's not a state of the mind. It's real literal pain you're going to feel in hell. Anyway, this other demon in the cell picked me up, dug his clothes.
Now, when he's talking about you're going to feel real pain in hell, he's absolutely correct. Even when I had that dream and that separation from the Lord, it was so severe that while I was experiencing it, my body or my mind woke me up out of that dream because it couldn't handle what I was experiencing. I couldn't explain it. My mind didn't know what to do with it. It just felt this tremendous pain of being separated from the Lord that I woke up when I wasn't able to breathe. I was out of breath. I was sweating really bad. It took me a good 5 minutes to catch my breath as I woke up. And again, these are things that the Lord doesn't just show for you personally. He does this because he wants you to experience what it's like for someone else who isn't saved. And he wants to put that fire under you to share the gospel so these people do not experience these things. And that's why it is so important to watch these videos and just kind of, watch what their experience is and just imagine what that would be like for eternity, forever and ever, to feel like this, to experience these things. That you wouldn't want that to be for anyone in your family, your loved one, your friends, or anybody for that matter. So it should be something that you would want to willingly share the gospel and share the good news so people don't experience these things.
Claws in my chest, tore the flesh open. Again, I thought, how could I be alive through this? I should be dead. But I noticed I had a body. Matthew 10:28 says, fear him who is able to destroy both soul and body in hell. Luke 16, the rich man wanted a drop of water to cool his tongue. He had a mouth to speak, a tongue, and eyes to lift. So you have a body, but it withstands these torments. But something else I noticed, there was no blood or water coming from the wounds. It was just all dry. But Leviticus 17:11 says the life of the flesh is in the blood. Well, there's no life in hell, so there's no blood.
Wow.
And then Zechariah 9:11 says, thy prisoners out of the pit where there is no water. There's not one drop of water in hell. And these demons have no mercy over you whatsoever. They have an extreme hatred for you. But Psalms 103:17 says the mercy of the Lord is upon those that fear him. Well, they don't fear him in hell, so you don't derive the benefit of mercy. About this time, Vlad, it went dark. Now, I believed it was God's presence there to illuminate it so I could see. But then he withdrew his attribute of light, and it returned to its normal state. Absolute pitch black darkness. But Lamentations 3:6 says, he has set me in dark places as they that be dead of old. Jude 13 mentions blackness of darkness forever. But it wasn't just dark. You could literally feel the darkness. But that's not an exaggeration. Exodus 10:21 mentions a darkness that may be felt. It's just so evil and wicked. It just seems to penetrate through every cell in your body. Then I was taken out of this prison cell. I was placed over next to this large raging pit of fire. This pit was about a mile across. I just understood that, like a huge hole in the ground with flames raging high up into this open cavern. And again, it wasn't metaphorical or allegorical flames. I felt the heat. I saw the fire. But more importantly, it's what the scripture says. Psalms 11:6 says, upon the wicked he will rain fire and brimstone in a horrible tempest. Psalms 140 verse 10, let burning coals fall upon them. Let them be cast into the fire, into deep pits. Matthew 13:49, Isaiah 33:12 through 14. Many verses I could give you on the fire. But Vlad, this is where I could first see people. See through the flames, and I saw the outlines. It looked like skeletons of people, and they were screaming at the top of their lungs, burning. And you could not distinguish a man from a woman. That the screams were so loud. But Isaiah 57:21 says, there is no peace, saith my God, to the wicked. There's no peace of any kind in hell. But, Isaiah 32:18 says, my people dwell in a quiet resting place. You're not his people. You don't even derive the benefit of quiet. But, most of us have never seen a person on fire. I mean, it is horrendous to see that. And the screams and so forth. And demons were shoving people back in, and they have no strength to even fight them off at all. And so I saw that. I thought about my wife up on the earth. I knew that I would never get to her again. I could never say goodbye. Job 7:9 says, he that goes down to Sheol shall come up no more. I understood that. And you don't realize.
And that's what I want to touch a little bit on, is where he's talking about he knew that. And that's what I mean. That's the same kind of experience I had too, where when I was being separated from the Lord, I knew so much about what was going to happen and the eternity I was going to spend in and what I was going to experience. It's this information that's already given to you before you even arrive. It's like the process of you passing in that little short span of time. It's like this tremendous amount of knowledge is just given to you about where you're going, and it's for eternity. So there's no questions. You don't have any questions because you know exactly what everything that's going to happen to you as you're going there and why you're going there, more importantly, and that you're completely being severed from the Lord for eternity.
How tormenting of a thought that is, to have no finality with your family. You can't say goodbye, and they don't know that you still exist. See, death does not mean cease to exist. Death means you're separated from God. You still exist. I understood I was down deep in the earth. I descended to get there. I ascended when I left. But more importantly, there's 49 scriptures that point out where the current hell is. I'll just give you two. Ezekiel 26:20, Numbers 16:32 and 33, very clear.
Yeah, let's take a look at Numbers 16:22 and 23. I meant Numbers 16:32 and 33. It says, and the earth opened its mouth and swallowed them and their households, and all those associated with Korah, together with their possessions. They went down alive into the realm of the dead, and everything they owned. The earth closed over them, and they perished and were gone from the community. Now, basically, what this saying is below us is hell, and above us is heaven. But it's a symbolism of hell being below us and heaven being above us. And what I mean by this is you can't take a shovel and dig your way down into hell. You're not going to reach it. Just like you're not going to take a rocket and go into space and reach heaven. You're just not going to reach it because it's in a different dimension. But the symbolism is there where hell is below us, but not physically below us, but it dwells underneath us, whereas heaven dwells above us, but it's not physically above us where we can personally reach it, but it does dwell above us.
Also, I understood there were different levels of torment and degrees of punishment. But remember, Jesus said in Matthew 23:14, you shall receive the greater damnation. That infers a lesser. Or Hebrews 10:28, of how much worse of a punishment suppose it shall be for you who have trodden underfoot the Son of God. There's a worse punishment, but my point is there is no comfortable, tolerable level in hell. The level is far worse than your mind can conceive.
Wow.
You have no purpose. It's just a complete useless wasting away. Ecclesiastes 9:10 says there's no work, nor device, nor knowledge, no wisdom in Sheol. And another thing that's so horrible in hell is the foul, putrid, disgusting odor. Jesus rebuked the foul spirits, Mark 9:25. They have a disgusting, foul, decaying odor to them, but also it smelled like burning flesh and also burning sulfur. And if you go to Hawaii to the volcano, they have signs posted where you cannot go past a certain point because the toxicity coming up from the volcano, it's called sulfur dioxide. And if you breathe it, it will kill you. It's toxic. Well, sulfur is just another word for brimstone. And the word brimstone's mentioned 14 times in the Bible. So you're breathing in this foul, putrid, disgusting air. But it's even worse than that because there's not enough air to breathe. You have to fight for even tiniest bit of oxygen. But Isaiah 42:5 says, the Lord gives breath to the people upon the earth. You're not upon the earth, you're down deep beneath the earth. God's very specific with his word. And just a couple more things. You need to sleep in hell. You never get to go to sleep. Revelation 14:10-11 says, and they shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the Lamb and in the presence of the holy angels. And the smoke of their torment ascends up forever and ever. And they have no rest day nor night. Now that primarily means no rest from the torment, but also no rest of any kind, because Isaiah 57:20 said the wicked are like the troubled sea that cannot rest. The sea's always moving. It can't rest. But again, rest is a blessing from God. Psalms 127:2 said the Lord gives his beloved sleep. Well, you're not his beloved. And anyway, I was standing beneath this tunnel that was ascending upward, and there were demons all along the side walls, the cavern walls. Some were only 2 and 3 feet tall, some 12 and 13 feet tall, twisted, deformed, and grotesque. There were snakes, and I was standing on a bed of maggots. But Isaiah 14:11 says, where the maggot is spread under thee and the worm will cover thee. Look it up in the original. It's the word maggot. I never knew this, but when a dead animal is being eaten by maggots, after they consume the flesh, maggots die. Well, that's why Jesus said, where their worm dies not. He used the word maggot because the flesh is never fully consumed in hell. So as Job 24:20 says, the maggot will feed sweetly on thee. I mean, is that disgusting enough? You're hungry, you never get to eat. You have the feeling of hunger. Thirst, remember the rich man, Luke 16, he wanted one drop of water that he'll never get. So the thirst is unimaginable that you enduring. And, you have to endure this, just watching people burning and demons.
So a lot of these things that he's explaining, that being tortured and stuff, to me personally, from what I experienced, I mean, all those things are wicked. They're horrible experiences that that somebody may end up facing if they go to hell. To me, just there's a lot more pain involved too than just the physical part of being tortured. There's the emotional, just this being separated from the Lord. There's a lot of pain in that too. There's a lot of spiritual pain involved, knowing that you're just being kind of mentally tortured, knowing that you'll never get out of it, that you'll never see the Lord, that you never can ask forgiveness, that you can never just break away from it. And this whole process of just going through these motions over and over and over and knowing it never gets easier. The pain never eases. You never get used to it. There's never a time like, maybe after 10 years of feeling like this, you'll start to get used to it. You never get used to it. It's always fresh. It's always there. And it's always something that you have to keep on enduring. It's just always going to continuously be there for forever.
Attacking you and so forth. I mean, it's beyond any kind of description I can really give.
So you were first, you landed in this prison, and then you were shown, you went through this place where it's a lake of fire. You were consciously aware that you were coming down into the center of the earth, and then you were coming up when you were leaving, and you quoted the scriptures where the Bible talks about it being located in the center of the earth. Do you think that this was the future lake of fire, or this is currently where people are at?
This is where currently people are at. I did not see the lake of fire. That's the future hell that nobody is in right now.
Okay.
And that's after Revelation 20:12-15 is when death and hell, and he uses the word Hades, which is the current hell. Death and hell deliver up the dead that are in them, and they're judged, and then they're cast into the lake of fire.
So I just wanted to briefly just show with you guys his testimony about going to hell and why that's so important to kind of, take that in, what his experience is, and be able to understand, the depth and what that really means to a lot of us. Because when you think about it, like I said before, when you think about it, you don't want your loved ones, you don't want your family or friends or pretty much anybody to want to experience something like that for an eternity. That everybody has their own decision if they want to believe in the Lord or not. But if there's something that you can do, share your testimony or just show them the love of the Lord, that it might just break that wall to give them an opportunity to seek the Lord. It's so worth it, because when you think about something like this, like for me, if I have a friend that I haven't shared it with, just having that idea of something happened to them and they passed, and they knew I knew the truth and they knew I knew about the Lord, and then they went and experienced something like that, they would think like, why didn't I ever share that with them? Why didn't I give them the opportunity to? If I would have just gave them that opportunity, they might not be there. I think about things like that, and just also I go back on like the dream I had and stuff, and just the experiences I had. It's for someone to experience this. I want you to understand this. When someone experiences this, it's not necessarily a good thing. I know some people be like, well, I never had a dream like that, or, I never experienced this with the Lord. I can tell you, if experiencing hell or separation of the Lord is not something you want to experience. It's not something that you want to take upon yourself just to see what it's like, because I promise you, it's something you will have to carry for the rest of your life. And these thoughts and just the heaviness of knowing that people are there, and people today who refuse to accept Christ as their Lord will end up going there, and it just weighs heavy on you, and you constantly think about it from time to time, and it's not something that you can easily forget. And the reason, like I said before, that the Lord shares this with certain people, for one, experience especially something as heavy as that, is that he gives it to someone that he knows that can handle it. Because a lot of us, I'm telling you, a lot of us cannot handle just the mental process of carrying something like that, every day for the rest of our life, fearing that if we do something wrong, we might lose our salvation. And this is where I'm going to go. Like, just all those wicked thoughts that just come across your mind after the Lord showing you something like that. I believe a lot of us can't mentally carry something like that. So I believe God shares that with people that he specifically chooses, that he knows can carry something like that, that are confident in their walk with Christ. I didn't experience a dream like that until I was very confident in myself, that I knew for certain that I am saved. I experienced the Lord. I had, a few visions, and I heard the audible voice of the Lord, things like this, that I knew for certain that I have a tight walk with the Lord, and, I'm going to see him when my time comes. That led me to having an experience like that. And I believe that's probably similar to him. And sometimes it might not be like that. Sometimes the Lord will show somebody, where I've heard a story of a kid 17-year-olds wanting to, end things. And gratefully, it didn't work out that way. And he ended up being survived. But the testimony he had about it was similar to this, where he was being tortured and he went to hell, and like he was crying out to Jesus, and Jesus came and saved him, and he was actually able to be brought back. And he has a great testimony, and that's what he's doing right now, is sharing that testimony with everybody he knows and putting it on, the internet. I believe his sister gave a testimony for him on that story. And, sometimes it is a warning, but what God does use it for is a testimony that goes across all of us. And we all need to take that in and just understand the depth of what that testimony is, because this is, when you really think about it, when you don't necessarily know for certain what that's like, and you hear a testimony like that, you kind of, take it in any way you possibly can. And depending on your depth of belief and things like that, you might believe some things, you might not believe in some things, but it's a whole different story when you actually physically experience it, and it's terrifying, and you know the truth about it, and all you want to do is share it with everybody. I mean, there is absolutely no reason to make it the story more magnified than what the actual experience was, because the experience itself is already terrifying. You don't have to make it bigger than what it already is, because it's something none of us want to experience. So I just wanted to share that with you guys today. I hope you all having a blessed week. I know I haven't made any videos in a long time. It's been a couple weeks. I've had some sickness, some health issues these past few weeks, and been in and out of ER 4 times in the past 6 weeks. So it's been a roller coaster of just all kinds of things going on, but thankfully the Lord brought me through it, and now I'm getting out of it. So now I'm going to get back into making these videos again, and just doing what the Lord has put on my heart to do. So if you like anything, if you're made all the way through, please like, share, subscribe, as it helps the channel, of course. It helps it grow, and I'll continue to make more videos like this. All right, God bless.